fucking metal show. Welcome to Big Beats fucking metal show.
What's up, guys, and welcome back to Big Pete's Metal Show. And I'm not screaming it still because I'm still kind of sick and my voice is still kind of fucked. And we're doing a marathon all week. It's a new video every single day this week. Need to catch up on them. And today we're going to be talking about Rex Brown's solo debut album, Smoke on This. Now, this album, if I had to describe it in as few words as possible, it's like Southern outlaw metal. If that makes sense. It reminds me a lot of what Down would be doing if they, without harsh vocals, without Phil Anselmo as the vocalist. It's certainly in the vein, in the style of that, lyrically, both and atmospherically. So, anyway, as you put in the CD into your car or your CD player, first thing you're going to hear is flick of a lighter and Rex Brown's spoken words, "Smoke on This." And we get instantly right into the first track, Lone Rider, which is a fast-paced, groovy, catchy, awesome tune. And that carries into Crossing Lines, track 2, with the same thing. And then we get to track 3, Buried Alive. And this one is Rex Brown's personal thoughts, feelings about Dimebag Darrell and the whole situation. And I read it. It was a very emotional track, and the recording needed to be handled very delicately. And it's a great track. You go from sludgy-ish, heavy type of groove into softer parts, softer sang parts, and it just coincides. The whole song coincides very nicely together. And then we get to track 4, which is one of my favorites on the album, which is also a leading single, the Train song. And it's just the beat of the song and the way it progresses just conjures up images of a old western train, if you will. And it's a very great southerny, metal-y, groovy track. And a lot of these tracks are short too. They got like Train song, and some of the first 2 songs have like 2.5 minute, right under 3 minute run times. And then we get into other tracks such as Get Yourself All Right, which isn't really too different from what we've already discussed. And then we get to track 6, Fault Line. Now, this is probably my least favorite track on the album. It's not a bad song, but it's more of like a slower ballady type of and it almost sounds like country music at some points, but it still retains the hard rock vibe that Rex Brown has put into this album. And then we get into other tracks, What Comes Around, Grace, Into You, Best of Me, and there's not much different from what we've already said at this point until we get to track 11, The Closer, One of These Days. And it starts out kind of like trying to progress something, and then it gets to a point where it stops, and then it goes and turns into like a completely different song where he's reciting the title of the track, and it's if I had to describe it as best as I could, it's like a country metal outlaw power ballad, if you will. And you know, it just kind of gets it increases a little bit as it goes along, and it closes off the album on a good note. It's a different song, but it's a really powerful song, if you will. There's a lot of very powerful tracks on this album, and there's a lot of shorter, fun, groovy tracks on this album. And I very much enjoyed the Rex Brown's first solo record, and I would love to hear more from him. Maybe another album a couple years down the line. And I think it's about time that he's done his own thing. And I think that's very cool. So, his debut album, I'm going to rate this 85 out of 100 for being somewhat mostly original, and well, not somewhat mostly, it's pretty original, and for just being, you know, classic, true stuff from Rex Brown. Well, the original ending of my video got fucked, so now I'm stuck doing this. But anyway, did you love it? Did you hate it? What were your thoughts? And that'll be it for today's episode. Make sure you catch me tomorrow. Whatever the fuck we'll be doing tomorrow, I don't know. That'll be it. Stay brutal.